It's Roadman Saf, aka Saf Malik.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Lou Phelps.
What's going on, everybody? This is Patrick.
What's up? It's me, Alfie.
Hey, I'm Ezra Jordan, and you're listening to The Cool Table.
Patrick, you're now listening to The Cool Table.
You are listening to The Cool Table.
And I'm not sure if you know this, but right now, you're in the cut with my man, Adriel Smiley.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. We're here with Clairmont the Second. This is our first home episode of In the Cut, so you're setting the tone right now.
Nice. Fine. Yeah. That's good. That's good. I get to set the bar.
Exactly. Well. anyone coming after you is gonna have to bring it for sure. For sure. Honestly, I was hyped to talk to you because I didn't know your album was coming out. I wasn't hip. I had no idea. So when I saw it on my timeline, I went and listened to it right away, and it slapped. And I was like,
thank you.
I was like, this is. I'll take this on a Friday. I had no idea it was coming, and it was welcome. So that's probably some of the best experiences with music. Like when you're not prepared for it, anyway, and then it comes. I guess welcome, and it's good.
Yeah,
talk about
appreciate that.
The intro. I probably spent 15-20 minutes trying to find whatever that sound was, and then I said, you know what, let me just ask you what the sound was. But to me it sounded like that little sound that Kirby makes when he jumps a little bit. But
I made all those sounds. I made all of those.
You made all those. Okay.
Yeah. So I have this VST, and basically there's just a lot of sine waves, synth wave, different synths, a bunch of they got the square synths, the round ones and stuff, and then a lot of old 8-bit sounds. So I actually played everything, and then I kind of manipulated some of the sounds to be what they are, but they're all inspired by specific things in the intro. So the progression I played, with the 8-bit strings, I played that. There's the sound effect of a kind of in old RPG games, whether that be old Pokemon games or Shining Force for Sega and whatnot, the sound of the dialogue box opening. So I made that.
Yeah.
And then all the talking would not be actually talking. It would be little sounds. So I had basically a conversation thing going between two.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, a deeper one, a higher one. So I basically kind of did my best to replicate that. That's the stuff that I grew up playing. So
that's tough.
Perfect. Appreciate it.
No, that's crazy. Hear you explain that. That brings me back to when I went to college at Seneca for broadcast television, and we had this audio class. Rest in peace to Paul Sellers, but he was big in audio. He used to always do the Olympics, a bunch of bands, and he'll if he heard your intro, he would be going off. That's an hour and a half class. That's what I thought of when you started talking. He would have been there for an hour and a half. You see how we pan these? You see how we did this? That's what it would have been. So that's your thing on that intro.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
The track that stood out for me right away that I was I'm listening to this whole tape was Ben.
Yeah.
As soon as Ben came on, I'm like, okay, it's getting a real spin. Yeah. Because sometimes you get something a halfway spin, and you're like, all right, let me go back to what I want to listen to now, or let me change it.
Yeah.
You have this bar on there that says it's about the 40% they're trying to take from you. I want you to tell me about that.
Okay, so it's funny. I had a couple of theories, and people were thinking that I was talking about labels and stuff, but I was actually talking about taxes. So taxes in Canada or Ontario specifically. I don't know if it's specific to Ontario or Canada as a whole, but they're pretty steep once you make a certain amount of money. So I was talking about taxes, but also it actually can apply to what labels are trying to take from you. But I had taxes in mind when I wrote it. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. This is fire.
You know what's crazy? This is how we've changed as a community. That I thought about labels instantly, and I know a bunch of other people probably did too. Yeah. But it's crazy. We're all thinking about you, making sure you're not getting robbed. Everyone's I hope it's not that's literally how everyone's thinking now. That's right away. Everyone's like, okay, I hope you're not getting robbed. Let's hope the label's not doing this.
Yeah, no, so for sure. Like I was gonna say, we have gotten. We've spoken to labels in the past. They weren't trying to take down 40%, but still too high for what I
exactly
all the work that I put in. But even labels as a whole, sometimes they, even if it's not 40% directly, what's shown to you on paper. They're making money elsewhere, off of you, however it may be. So
Exactly.
it was perfect. It ended up
Oh
working out.
man, that's perfect. That's perfect. The other line from that song I like is, "No one loved me more than a black woman, I promise."
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about that line. That's one of my favorite bars.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite bars too. It's just, like when you your mother, your grandma, your girlfriend.
That's what I thought of. I thought my mom right away. I say, "Yup."
Yeah, nobody loves you more than, or at least in my experience, nobody loves me more than the black woman
for sure.
in my life. In my life.
No, 100%. I was talking to my friend the other day, and I was telling her, I said, she's a black woman, and I was like, black women are the strongest people on the planet. And I said that I think white men see that and low-key get terrified.
Yeah.
And I said, I feel like that's why you guys have the most beef.
Yeah, it's true. Like, also what I thought about when writing that line is, I had watched Queen and Slim in theaters, right? And I was looking at how the main how Slim was written, and I'm like, I don't know why, but I feel like a black woman wrote this movie, because I had no idea who had wrote it, who had directed it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes even black men don't write black men like this. Like it's a different type of love. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I just feel like, so then when I looked it up, I had seen, you know what I mean? So that's definitely one of the things that were in my mind.
100%. That's a good reference, Queen and Slim. That for sure. Even the way Slim is written, Slim is like a G in a whole different way. Like I rocked with that movie so heavy, basically because of how Slim was with her. I was like, I'm like, you don't even know her like that, but he's still moving trying to move all the way correct. So no, that was 100%.
For sure.
In the song "Wait," you have this line that goes through the whole thing. It's like, life ain't waiting for your boy.
Yeah,
I thought that was huge, and you making that a constant thing instead of just one line. Yeah, I feel like that line is powerful. Talk about you making that choice to make that something that goes throughout the track a little bit.
It's like on surface level, it's a chorus. You know what I mean? So, or like a pre-chorus or whatever however it's placed. But I just think people need to understand the severity, or like how serious, like somebody in my position, being, black, being a man, not being in a more financially stable position. I don't get the cheat codes to life. I don't have the cheat codes to life. So I need people to really grasp, like if I have a problem in my personal life, I don't have a grace period that I could pay my bills or pay taxes. They'll just shut it off. It is what it is. They'll just do. And like when I have to, whether I have to owe something to this, or I have to pay something to that, or I have to deal with this situation, nobody actually cares about what's going on in your personal life at that moment. So I'm trying to work for myself right now. I have to make things happen for myself, because you're not going to do it. The people in your position are not going to do it. You guys are just trying to take from me. That's what you guys have been doing. So I have to make sure that I get it together for myself, or no one will, basically. So.
No, Hundo P. When I heard that song, I was like, this is really gonna catch someone and save them. Like, I really felt that when I heard that, because like you're saying, like people don't usually think like that. They're just And the thing is, like, it's such a fact, like, you don't have that luxury. Like, I remember times when I was in school and doing my show and working full time, and like literally every day this goes from 7 to 2. Like that's your every day is 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. and that's every day. You nap in the middle.
I feel you.
And you're doing it, and it's like there's no break. It doesn't matter what happens to you, like for real. So I felt like you definitely gave someone some gems.
Yeah, I the people at the top don't care about you, no matter what like situation it may be in. Even like even talking about the label, or talking about like a company that you work for, the people at the top don't really care about the people at the bottom. Those are just the soldiers, you know what I mean? But the real brains is behind the whole thing. Of course they own a whole entire thing, but at the end of the day, they're financially like in a better place. They have that freedom to kind of lounge back and kind of play chess, I guess, or but also make more money off of the people at the bottom. So
Facts.
yeah.
You just got verified, so I'm gonna give you a big congrats on that.
On Instagram, yes, at Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, that's big time. I saw you got some phonies.
Yeah.
Coming for you. I can't even believe that happened. It's crazy because you just got verified too. So it's like, did these phonies just hear of you and say, you know what, let's
let's do it. It's like it's funny. It's like they weren't making fake accounts before, but as soon as I get the check mark, you think that's the best time to make a fake account because obviously you're not the real person. Trying to put official second, it was hilarious.
No, I saw that and I was like, because I see a lot of shorties have that where it's like, if it's like someone make a fake account for that shorty and like that's normal at this point. Like it's like 10 years of people doing that.
Yeah,
so we're used to that. The fact that you got the fakes right after you got verified is like y'all are shooting in the dark.
Yeah, like you got some poor decision. I don't know what you thought you were doing with that one, but everybody just saw me get verified. But I mean, I guess I'm getting bigger, so I guess a fake account was gonna come sooner or later. It's funny. Earlier that day, I saw somebody else with like a fake account or somebody. I'm like, I wonder when I'm gonna get my fake account.
Crazy.
Day, someone sent it to me. I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
Yo, listen, I see you're making it, so can't even hate on that.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have a lot of neo soul R&B influences.
Yeah.
Like you said, and gospel. But those are like probably my 3 favorite genres as well as hip hop. Yeah. Dream is a song that I really felt like had that kind of vibe. Talk about putting that song together. Was there like a song or artist or a sound in mind when you were doing that? Because I feel like feels like a track from a different time period.
Yeah, I mean, making that the concept from that song actually came from a dream that I had. Where,
crazy!
Like literally, the lyrics like explain that dream that I had was like, yo, I saw somebody. I'm like, oh, I wonder if they're doing okay, and then I just thought of the song. And then I just knew it was going to be an R&B track or a neo soul track or soul track, if you want to call it that. I just knew what it was going to be. And I've been making R&B records on I've been making R&B records since the beginning, since my first project in 2013. Like every project, there's been a slow record on there or a couple slow records on there. This album is a little bit more fast paced, but at the end of the day, every project has contained, some R&B, more R&B focused track.
I guess that's I guess that's why it surprised me more, because like some of the tracks I wasn't as familiar with your tracks before, but some tracks I knew before were R&B tracks. So when I heard this album like on that pace, I was like, okay, he's on this type of time. Yeah. So I guess mentally I probably was not even expecting that different pace. But sorry,
exactly. Yeah, no worries. I've just listening to so many different types of music. That's why I'm able to create so many different types of music. I have the just like jazz, neo soul, R&B, gospel, funk, like all these things that I'm super influenced by allows me to not stay one dimensional and only make one particular type of music, but also why not make the music that I enjoy? So even my more fast-paced, more upbeat, or my more aggressive sounding tracks, there's always going to be an element of one of those genres in the music. So when I was making Dream, it was nothing new to me. Like the progression, when I found the progression, I'm like, oh yes, this is it. The chord progression, I'm like, this is perfect. And it just started coming together. I would say from a more sonic perspective, like a mixing perspective, I knew like when I was mixing the record, the thing that came to mind was Russell Elvado, who's is a engineer for D'Angelo, or a mixing engineer for D'Angelo. Yeah. He's mixed Voodoo, Black Messiah, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna use as much reverb as I usually do. I'm gonna treat it very close. I'm gonna, the most reverb I'm gonna have is gonna be on like little instrument things that pop up here and there, but it's not gonna be. You're not gonna really notice it too obviously, but kind of have it more warm and and I try to kind of keep that element throughout the whole project. So I like to keep all the songs very warm sounding, even if they're like high end and crisp. I still like to take away some of those highs, just to keep it warm and still give it that analog feel. Like one day I want to work on strictly like analog machines and tape machines and stuff, but I don't have I don't have the money for that right now or the know-how, but I'm like studying a lot on it. So
it's crazy you mentioned Russ, because Voodoo is probably one of my like top albums. Like
Voodoo is fun.
I got playlists that are like old school R&B songs and like old soul tracks, and I'll just put Voodoo in there the entirety. Like,
yeah, man.
like the whole album will go in there. Everything else will be like a couple tracks from this album.
Yeah.
The whole Voodoo's in there. So
Voodoo's nasty. Nasty.
It's crazy you mentioned that, but I do feel like you kind of achieved that. Like what you're talking about, we're talking about that warmness. I definitely felt that in the track, and like you saying that analog sound is like it's a whole different vibe.
Yeah,
and when I was younger, I used to think it was overplayed. I was like, those old heads, like it ain't that serious. Like obviously Diddle's gonna be better, but when I listen to an album like Voodoo, especially the way that they mix that one, it's like different world. It feels like it's a complete different world from, you know, even if you listen to like Usher Confessions in 04. It's even just such a different world from that. So that sound is for real.
Yeah,
talk about
different.
The gospel tracks, like me growing up with gospel. Like I'll tell you right now, I didn't listen to I didn't listen to hip hop for real till I was probably like 13.
I feel you. Yeah, it's been a while. It took me a while for sure.
Yo, growing up, it was Kirk Franklin. Donnie McClurkin, Little Bit, Mary, and then
Kirk Carr,
Kirk Carr, and then I had a Bow Wow CD. I don't know why, but I had Beware of the Dog. But talk about growing up with all those gospel legends and that like affected how you think of music, because I think that for me made me think of all music the same. Like I'll call something a banger, even if it's like an indie song. Like that's just how I think of music. Also, talk about how gospel kind of helped the way you think of music.
Yeah, man, gospel it played such an important role, man. And like one thing I noticed when I was getting older is with gospel music, listening, like growing up in church, hearing the music, listening to gospel music, and then kind of seeing the way hip hop started moving, then seeing hip hop performances, I'm like, yo, why is this so bad to me? Like, why does it feel like it's trash to me? And then I would like go back to old gospel. I'm like, yo, because this is so good. Like they're so rehearsed. Like they're out here jumping around, dancing on stage, and the vocals aren't like wavering or nothing. Like the rehearsal dedication is insanity. The music the chord progressions are crazy. All the instrumentation is nuts. And just, you know, like gospel's like the only thing I heard forever. Gospel, and then like a Pat Metheny CD, which is jazz. Like my dad used to play Pat Metheny a lot. Okay. And so hearing that, and then like, you know, as you said, Kirk Franklin, Donnie McClurkin, Kirk Carr, Mary, Ty Tribbett, all those guys, man, is and actually Kirk Franklin's song Love is one of the songs I was thinking of when I made Dream. I was getting, like, so when I was making it, I'm like, I need, like, when it came to the bridge, there's kind of a build for like a half a second with these harmonies that come in, and like the first thing I thought of was Love by Kirk Franklin, and just kind of the simplicity in the song and the lyrics, but how it's just a timeless song. And that was kind of, you know, that like for all my more slow tracks, I try not to like bombard them with the lyrics or super eccentric flows, but kind of something that you could sing along to, but also the lyrics do what they need to do. They're not trying too hard, they're not whatever, it's just a general message that everybody could kind of like connect with, or like a lot of people could connect with.
Yeah, and I feel like, try to talk about Dreams again, but I feel like
it's all good.
Even the chord progression in that, like you have that sonically without the words, which is like exactly what you want. Like if I mute the lyrics, I can still feel the vibe, and if you put the lyrics with it, I can understand it as well. So exactly like that. I want to talk about Golden Eye. Like when you brought that up, that brought me back so crazy. I'm horrible at any type of shooting game, like Halo, COD, like COD, I'm just like passable now. Like, but I used to have so many games and go 0-4. Like, literally not kill a single man the whole game. But GoldenEye, I was nice. And it's crazy to me look back at it now that I'm so horrible. But talk about those times playing GoldenEye, because that was before we had Halo. Again, before we had COD. That was the first time when we were shooting at other people.
Yeah. Like, so I was for the like because of, you know, us like my family not kind of being the richest, we were usually like a generation or two generations behind on consoles. So I've had the 64 up at like, well, the 64 was my stepbrother's, and so when I was at my dad's house, we would run Nintendo 64 a lot of the times, and the games that we would run is GoldenEye, Super Smash Brothers, and those were the two main ones. And then like here and there, I'd run like Bomberman Hero once in a while and whatever. So we had that, like we ran that basically until, I don't know, until I was in like primary, middle school, whatever, consistently. We had a Dreamcast at one point, which was amazing, but for some reason,
Dreamcast.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? Like the Dreamcast, I remember playing before the 64. I think it came around the same time, and then the Dreamcast had broke or something, so that was super sad. But either way, so just I knew that once I started getting money, a little bit more funds, I would start buying all the consoles that I really enjoyed playing like all the time. So I have like a 64 now, I have a Dreamcast now, whatnot. But yeah, just the Nintendo 64 times provided like a different feel, man. It was really good. Even though I preferred the Dreamcast, I didn't have it anymore. It was broken. But just games from that time period alone was just
different vibe.
Yeah, because like it was, the gaming industry is so interesting because it's almost similar to music, but it was in a time period. So if we're talking like, I used to grow up on the Neo Geo emulator too. Neo Geo is a console.
Real?
Yeah, made by SNK, but Neo Geo wasn't available to consumers. Like not any consumers, because when it dropped, we're talking like 1980 something. I can't remember exactly the year, but you're talking about something coming out at that time period dropping at like $600. So imagine that now. That would be like 1,000 whatever. So it wasn't even available to just like anybody, and it was marketed more to adults. But the games and the quality of the Neo Geo was just next level.
I never even messed with one that had. That's crazy.
I never had the actual console. I had the emulator, so I had to play it on a computer. Yeah. I want to own a Neo Geo one day, but basically, all that to say, from that time period, in games and you know, if you want to look at music the same way, you had to try. It wasn't just about making money. If you didn't make good games, your company would go bankrupt.
For real.
Literally one game and that's it. And that's your company gone. And we're talking about the Neo Geo, which was really successful in arcade. Then they tried to bring it to a home console, and they still had amazing games, but their company still went bankrupt. Now, all these companies and whatever have been established so well, like, you know, EA and you know, Activision, all these big companies, that they could throw out a bunch of unfinished games and nothing will happen to their company because they're just so funded. So I look at like the music is almost identical. Same. That like people aren't even trying as much as they had to try, because if that was it, that was it. That was it.
It was a crazy different time. Like, especially when you talk about music being that way, here's how I think of it now. It's like, there was a time when the pop hits that were on the radio were like good songs. Yeah. And like I think about like Maroon 5, She Will Be Loved. And like, when that was the biggest song, you had no problem hearing that 8 times in a row on the radio.
Yeah. You know? It was different. Radio was different, man. It was different.
Like even now, the songs are the biggest songs. You get 30 seconds in and you're like, turn that off.
Yeah.
And it's like even, and especially because it's so artist based, which is like my huge problem with the industry, is that once you are big enough artists, and as long as you duplicate your own sound, whatever you've created, you know, your song should do well. And even if someone's making better music over here, it's not always amplified the same. So
people don't really push it anymore. They don't really push the boundaries, and they don't try to, whether that's from lyricism to a sound, a production style, whatever it may be. They don't push it like how they used to, because back in the day you had to push it. You had to, you know what I mean? Like listening to like Funkadelic records, you could hear, like, although they were in funk and funk was their genre, and they're basically responsible for like a crazy chunk of hip hop. They're responsible
literally
Like so, but when you listen to them, Let's Take It to the Stage doesn't really sound like Maggot Brain or any of their other albums. You know what I mean? When you listen to Prince, this guy had like too many albums, way too many, but they
like 8 different sounds. Yeah, exactly.
No, but there's so many different, like, you know what I mean? For You, his first album doesn't sound like Purple Rain, and it doesn't sound like I can't remember what I'm thinking of now, but Michael Jackson, Off the Wall, doesn't really sound like Thriller. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like it's always evolving. You know what I mean? And now it's just like duplicate.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, because there was a time when I was in college, I was really on some rap. Like, rap would come out, and I was like, okay, like, cool, you know, because it was so homogenized, and even now, and I like this. We're seeing this from Canadian artists, especially. So big shout out to us for this, but Canadian artists are even changing their sound and improving their sound, even on the smaller scale that we're on. We're seeing artists who are like not, bubbling a little bit in the city, and as they bubble, they grow their sound. Because again, it's that part of artistry where your first album and your third album don't sound the same, and your fifth album sounds different. Like, Outkast, someone I always think of with that, because basically every Outkast album, you're like, who are these guys again?
Outkast is the truth, man. And so fire.
So and it's like that is gone. That is totally gone. You talked about one of your favorite albums being Pimp a Butterfly.
That's my top. Yeah, I think that's my top favorite album ever, for sure.
Oh, ever.
At least I think I put it ever. Even though there might be some jazz albums that I might also put like best ever, but I think as a whole, To Pimp a Butterfly is definitely like, I think, one.
Yeah,
other than my own albums.
There we go.
Other than my own. Yeah.
When I talked to Lou Phelps, he was bigging up the album a lot too, and that's probably the Kendrick album that I listened to the least.
Really?
And I think I forget which. I listened to some pod they're talking about the album, so I went back and listened to it for like a few days in a row, and I understood kind of what everyone was so hype about, and it brought me back. It's still not in my my number of Kendrick. My number of Kendrick album is probably still be Section 80. I love Section 80.
Section 80 is fire.
Love Section 80, but like, I finally got what it was that I guess everyone fell in love with. Talk about your first time listening to that album, what that experience was like.
I was in my kitchen. And it had, I think it was like a leak. I think it might have leaked a little bit early, like maybe like a day or two. I got a thing early, and I started listening to it. I'm on track 1, and I was like contemplating, is this like a fake? Like, is this fake? Is this not him? Is this like demos or something?
That's crazy.
Not because of the sound quality, but because it was so different from Good Kid, Mad City. And then like it started going. I'm like, this is insane. This is like the best album I've ever heard. Like, hands down, was like my favorite album off top. Like, it was
damn.
And I listened to like half of it in my kitchen, then I went downstairs and finished it. It was nuts, man. Like, just it's just everything that I like and love embodied into one project. It was just you start with a funk record, followed by like the spoken word jazz record, followed by another funk record, R&B record, neo soul record, all this stuff that I've grown up listening to, just in one thing, with like different vocal techniques and vocal inflections and whatnot, like just doing different things with the vocals. And that was the main thing that stood out to me, was the amount of characters that were on that album, where it doesn't just sound like his voice was getting repetitive and it was just him. Now you got like all these different characters on each one of these songs. So that's one of the things that really influenced me and inspired me to really push it and go like 10 times as hard with what I do vocally on my projects, whether that be screaming on some, whispering on some, changing the pitch of my voice, like before I even do any post processing, but trying to like try different characters out and make sure that the project doesn't get monotonous and repetitive in your ear. So yeah, I remember that. That was a good time.
Damn. Yeah. That album, like, I've always been a huge Kendrick fan, and that album was rough for me because I saw Kendrick, I think it was the year before, he opened for Kanye.
Okay.
And he got booed.
Really?
Real I felt so bad, and in my head I said, like, maybe he just wasn't ready to be a big stage performer.
I'm not surprised, actually, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think looking at the fan bases, they're two different fan bases. The way they treat Kanye versus the way they treat Kendrick, they're not the same. They're like, you could be a fan of both, but usually the hardcore Kendrick fans versus the hardcore Kanye, they're not the same crowd,
not the same people.
So when you're opening for somebody as big as Kanye at that time, especially when he hadn't put out To Pimp a Butterfly yet, like, I understand. I got booed at a show too. I got booed at Laurier. Yeah, I was opening for Nav, but you see why.
For sure.
We're not the same artist in any way.
For sure.
So I got booed at Laurier.
They wanted to hear something different.
Yeah, I think somebody threw something at me too.
Whoa.
And like, if it was now, I would have tried to find who did it, and I might have thrown it back or like fought. But at the time, I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna finish my set because I'm getting paid regardless. You guys, you guys are not. So you guys are gonna have to watch me. And I still like caught a good chunk of like a small piece of the crowd by like the last 2 songs or whatever, because I just didn't care. But it's one of those things, like, you're gonna get booed some point in your life, and
that's crazy. I guess I could totally see that, because that Nav crowd is so different.
Yeah,
so different. Yeah, and it's like, I remember when I saw, so my favorite song, might be some favorite song, but my favorite song is Money Trees by Kendrick.
Okay, yeah.
I love Money. So I was literally like, listen, if he does Money Trees, I'm good. I don't need to hear anything else. He came out to Money Trees, so I was ready off top.
Yeah.
And then maybe 3 songs in, people started booing him. But my point was to say that I had a friend who helped me get the tickets, she was there to see Kendrick.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, I'm gonna leave when Kendrick's done. And I couldn't believe it. But it's exactly what you're saying. He opened up my eyes to see that the fans will kind of get the music. I remember when I first heard the album, I was like, will everyone understand this? Will people like hearing this much jazz? And he definitely showed us that people will get it. Like, it's not, you don't have to think that the fan isn't smart enough or they're not hip enough. Like,
what the thing is too, people won't get it off top though. Like, I remember when it had came out, I instantly fell in love with it, and I'm like, this is the best album ever. And then I had a conversation with somebody on Twitter. I think this is one of the last few times I started actually talking to people on Twitter, because I was just so like, why am I talking to anybody about this? I like it. Like, but somebody said it was weird rap. I'm like, what the hell is weird rap? What are you talking about?
That's wild still.
I was really confused. I'm like, bro, what do you listen to that this is weird rap? Whatever that means. Whatever it even means.
Oh,
but
my
like,
gosh.
I was mad confused, because the thing with that album too is there's actually something for everybody on that project. Like, if you want straight up rap, you just go to Hood Politics. You know what I mean? Like, listen to Hood Politics. If you want something a little bit more, with a trap influence or whatever, just listen to All Right. You know what I mean? But it's like, you can't listen to what this guy is talking about on that project and call it weird rap.
Weird rap.
I was well confused.
That's
like,
a crazy
pointless conversation. This is stupid.
Facts.
And then I just stopped like taking in people's opinions and whatnot.
Oh, and no, that's and people who talk like that, you're just like, I want to know what you're listening to. Like, what are you really listening to? This is weird rap to you.
Yeah, and honestly, it's either I want to know what you're listening to, and at the same time, it's like, you know what? I don't care enough. I don't care enough to take in what you're listening to. This conversation is dead. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna log off, but yeah, good times.
Don't kill me. It's actually a perfect segue. Since we're talking about Kendrick, but you mentioned you want to see famous people doing more to help out and see the kind of plans that they had. You said that you had some plans that you weren't gonna let us in on. So if that's still secret, I'm gonna let you still keep that a secret. But what would you like? Not in particular, but what would you like people to be doing as a whole in terms of famous people? Because I want to say this. Someone who I always think of like this is Drake. Drake has not mentioned his blackness like in so many bars. He's mentioned his whiteness more than his blackness in so many of his bars. And I said, you've been black for 30-something years. You don't got nothing to say about it.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
And that's something I always think of when people say things like that, because obviously, you're entertaining. I shouldn't hold you to that standard. But that's still the reality. You still are living as a Black person, so that should be part of what you do. But yeah, what in particular would you want people to be doing more in terms of helping out?
In terms of helping out in regards to what, like with a smaller artist or like just the world, or what do you think? Like, what are you asking exactly?
I would say just in the world, in terms of social justice and just helping, and I guess being helpful with their influence and what they do.
I do think I feel like in the past months I've seen people get at the wrong people. You've seen everything that's been going on in the world, you know what I mean? We're in the middle of a revolution right now, and I just feel like people have been attacking the wrong people in regards to these things. Like I don't think you need to be on social media or tweet something on social media to be involved. This is what I feel. Like you don't need to be like sometimes people just want to do things quietly. You know what I mean? Sometimes people just want to protest. Sometimes people want to donate a large sum of money but not have their name attached. Like I know for me, like I don't do like certain things like donating to this or giving money to this, blah, 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 so that people could like validate me for actually being in the field. You know what I mean? So I think, but the problem comes in when people are quiet, period. Like, period. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't feel like you're really down with the cause. And honestly, I don't really think famous people are an issue. Are the issue. I think it's I guess I'll speak more specifically to kind of the Black Lives Matter movement in the last little while. But all these companies like starting to say like, yo, we hear you, we see you, and we stand with you. It's like, no, you don't. You're saying this so you can still get business. Like, you don't stand with us at all. I've yet to see the CEO come out and say, like, if it was really about that, I would love to see a CEO come out and say something like, cool, put out the messages, but like, you're not getting points from me because I've been Black forever. You know what I mean? I've been Black since the beginning. I've been Black since I was born, and I've dealt with, I would say, Black issues on a bigger scale in the past, like maybe, I don't know, like 5-7 years or whatever, like on a bigger scale. And I've like seen a lot more things and like, oh, this is why this has worked. This is why this is this way. And this is why things are placed like this for this particular group of people or whatever it may be. So it's really the company. I don't really have famous people, they could do what they want. Like, I really don't care, as long as, the people that I rock with, like, I guess our morals kind of align, and I know that they're doing work, and like, you ain't got to be tweeting all the time to, but No, I get that, I call everyone the overnight activists. The overnight activists are just really, they're really the worst. And I feel you with these companies putting out all these statements, like, saying being a journalism grad, a part of me is like, I guess you don't have it. Like, you technically don't have a choice. Your company has to put something out. But I always circle back to the Raptors and, them putting the Black Lives Matter on their bus, and everyone on the team basically wearing Black Lives Matter shirts whenever you see them. It's like, I feel like these companies didn't put the effort in or the time in to see what they could actually do or do more. Because I do think that's like, there are some situations where you feel like, what can I do right now that will help right now? This is a problem that we can't fix with a snap like Thanos. Like, this is something that we have to work towards. And I don't, you're right, I don't see a lot of these companies kind of taking that extra step, bit of thought to be like, what could we actually do? Saving face. That's what they're doing. They're just saving face. Like, they're just like, yo, like, yeah, we understand that this is a problem. All right, well, back to our regular scheduled program. We're selling these staplers for this. You know what I mean? It's like, I get it. They're doing it for the validation from, I guess, Black people or whatever. Like, I personally don't really care. I'm basically well tuned out of the internet right now. It's just, it's a mess, man. It's a mess out there. I just been making music and trying to like think and, better myself and feel better about life and deal with a lot of, personal things that I need to deal with. But like, as for the world, man, I don't know, man. It's madness. Yeah.
And the internet is a dangerous place. The
It's so
internet
dangerous,
remains
yeah.
undefeated, and it is a dangerous place. Before we go on to the next bit of stuff, I was talking to my mom about this, and I said they are definitely promoting a whole ton of black people, because it's convenient right now.
Yeah.
But my hope is that these black people don't let them forget what is going on, and that all these black people who now have these promotions will keep that same energy 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now, and will pay it forward. So that's the only thing I'm hoping, because I'm seeing a whole lot of people get promoted, and it's extremely convenient. But let's just hope that they keep that same energy.
And he's like, I think the thing that I always rocked with, and that's kind of why I'm hesitant to even like think about signing to labels or like partnering with so and so. It's like, why can't we just create our own thing? You know what I mean? Like, why do we have to be promoted within this or within that?
Thank you.
I understand like we're not all in the financial situation where we can just get up and do it. But I think the ultimate goal should be like building something ourselves and creating something ourselves. Why can't we be the head of one of the 5 major labels? Or why can't we be the head of this? Why can't we start our own TV network? Why can't? And I understand it's not built that simple, and it's not going to be built that simple. And that's honestly why I think things it's gonna take work, and it's gonna take like, and I don't have the answers personally, but I know that for me, like if I want to like, why sign to a label when I am the label? I am a label right now. I literally do everything. I produce the stuff. I shoot the videos. Well, I direct the videos with my partner B. She shoots the videos, and I art direct. I do this. I do that. Like, why can't I just start my own label? Why can't I start my own clothing line and my own factory? Why can't I blah blah? I get it. It requires money. We just have to figure out a way to build it and start something new, man. For real.
Exactly. This one we do every episode is called Top 5, and they say the 5 people in your life represent who you are the most. So who are your top 5 people who help you be you?
We're talking personally or just like
personally, like
personally?
And listen, your 5 could be a 2 or it could be an 8. It doesn't have to be actually 5 people.
5?
But who are the people you want to shout out that help you be you?
Damn. Not that it's hard or anything, but I would say one person that holds me down is, as I mentioned earlier, B, with 3 E's. That's 3 E's, B-E-E-E, or Asia Brown. She like helps me with everything, all my music and blah, 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 blah. All that stuff, all the visuals and whatnot. She doesn't help me with the music, I should say, but the music visuals. So like music videos, photography, and I just consult her for like whatever, but she also like, she's always there to talk to me for anything, and then you know what I mean. So shout out B, shout out Colin Dens, my management, Cole is my actual brother. Dens is basically a brother. I've known him since I was like 5. Yeah. So they handle all of that. My best friend that also raps as well, Hezzy, he was on Lomont from the Ave, and we did a song called Old Close together, which did some numbers. So those are the people that are kind of more directly involved with my music. And of course, my dad is a musician as well, like top like 5 singers I've ever heard in my life.
Jeez.
And like I'm trying to get my vocals up there, but he was giving me lessons for a bit, but then he went back to work. He got a new job, and so he's been working every day, so he can't help me with that anymore, but I gotta step it up. But my dad plays piano. He played guitar at one point. He used to paint a long time ago, I think before I was born. So all this art and music and stuff, like my dad, my brother, my sister sings as well. So like my family, and I have a little sister that sings as well too. So I have like a family of musical people. But yeah, like I hope I'm not missing anybody. I would just say my entire family. Like I got to shout out my family all the time because like we've been through a lot. They've been, like I'm talking like cousins. Like I'm really close with like all my cousins. Like my grandma has like how many children? Like something crazy. Like
Yo, the way you put your hands to your head, I knew.
I can't remember if it's like 9 or 11, but I feel like it's towards 9. And like thinking about all of them having children. And
that's
then,
crazy.
You know what I mean? So like the family is massive, but like, so like just they like love to my entire family, honestly. And then obviously the people that aren't, blood, but are basically family. Hezi, Asia, and then yeah, they hold it down for me for real.
Yeah, big shout out to all the fam. That's crazy.
And Trey is another one of my best friends, but he's not in the music industry like that. But I mean, if we're talking about that, might as well shout that out too.
Nah, shout them out. They all play their part.
Asia's family too. Asia's brothers, Asia's mom. Like there's so many people, man. Like I think. You know what? I can't even answer this with like just 5 or like even just 8. Like it's a community with like that's all family that all play a part. You know what I mean? So I really have to just shout out my family, honestly.
Nah, I rock with that heavy. I rock with that heavy. That's probably the best answer we've got for the top 5. You really shouted out. Everyone needs to be shouted out. A lot of people are scared to miss someone, but no, the whole family,
man. It's just too many people. Like because then my families, it comes with families. Like my best friend's family comes with his mom, his dad, like people that I've grown up with my entire life. Then like Hezi's family, Asia's family, like my cousins, my uncles, my aunties, my grandma, like. It's too much. It's like it's insane. Like to list down everybody, we'd be here for a good while, for real.
Extended.
Exactly. You got Asia's cousins now. Like it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Damn. This one I added to kind of our list of questions probably in the middle of season 2 because I saw that there's all these rich people with animals, and when I watched Tiger King on Netflix, it brought it back for me. I remember Mike Tyson with his tiger, Bieber with his monkey, and those are $100 million men right there. So that said something to me that once you reach that $100 million mark, animals are going to be in your future. So when you reach that $100 million mark, what animal are you going to get?
I don't know if I would get an animal just because I don't want to take care of something else. You know what I mean? Like I'm too busy to just take care of an animal. But who knows? Like if I'm taking time off, I don't know. But I think the easiest thing to do is a dog. Like I'm not insane. I'm not gonna buy an ape. You know what I mean? But like certain dog breeds I kind of like that are pretty cool.
Okay.
But I wouldn't get a dog just because I don't want to take care of a dog. But if I wouldn't get a dog, I would get a bird or something.
I was gonna say you're gonna get like a bird or a fish.
Yeah, a bird,
or a worm. Something that you don't need to touch.
But like fish are actually like a bee just got fish, and like for that first week, it requires like a good amount of maintenance.
Word.
Make sure the pH levels are proper. You got to make sure the ammonia is at the right level too.
Yeah, in the tank. Yeah.
And like you want to make sure you get a big enough tank and whatnot and stuff like that. So if I were to like. I was thinking about fish because like they're high maintenance at first, but then like you can kind of chill once like your tank is established. But I went to this fish store and I saw this like extra long tank that had black light, so it was glow in the dark kind of fish. And I'm like, it would be kind of fire to have like my setup and then like just like right under like a big monitor on top have like a long fish tank.
That'd be greasy.
With glowfish to just. Once I feed it, once in a while clean it out, but that's also work. So I don't know, maybe a fish or a bird, like nothing crazy exotic, but a nice bird. Birds are pretty chill.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, the fish would be good. I thought of a turtle too. My friend has a turtle.
Ooh,
I heard turtles in like this little aquarium thing, and she brings it out once in a while. That would be cool. But like. The fish under the monitor would look fly. Like,
it's so sick. We're having it in the wall. Some baller like in the wall stuff. Like the only way to get to the fish is to go around your house and hit the room behind it.
Yeah, that's a real baller level still. Like I go to a Caribbean fish like that.
Every time I think of fish at a high baller level, I think of barbershop. I don't know if you remember that new the new barbershop that opened up across the street, and they had a ball court in the barbershop.
I don't remember that.
And there's like a fish tank that's just like massive, like with just like super.
Oh, I gotta peep that. I gotta peep that.
It's pretty fire, but a fish or like even having a bird, like, but I wouldn't have them in like small spaces. I would probably get like a bird and then like have a sanctuary for it, like a really big,
that'd be tough.
If I have $100 million, it's no problem to just do that.
For sure.
They can fly around if they want, and whatever they want when they want to eat, hold out your hand with some seeds and they come and whatever it may be. But yeah.
Oh man, that's a good one. That's a good one. This is the last one. Now we do the segment on the show every week called Wednesday Wisdom.
Yeah.
It's hosted right now by Brandon Gibbs, and he comes with these quotes.
Brandon Gibbs?
You know Brandon?
Brandon Gibbs.
Yes. Tell me you know Brandon.
Okay. I have to make sure it's the right Brandon Gibbs. You know his family at all?
Yeah.
Does he have a little sister?
Yeah.
And his dad's a pastor?
Yeah.
Yo, Brandon Gibbs is the homie. Oh my God. Brandon Gibbs. Yeah, I actually went to that church. That was my last church. Basically,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Word.
I've been knowing Brandon since like elementary. That's his, like my dad's a pastor too, so his pops and my pops are cool. Yeah.
That's great. Their family too, man. That's
what's up. Say word.
I had no idea. I had no idea. Yo, tell him I saw what up. I had no idea. That's crazy.
Okay. So he hosts that segment that we do now.
Okay.
So my question to you is, do you have like a quote or a saying or something that you keep in mind, just to keep you kind of going during the week when you're feeling a little down?
I think one of the things that sticks with me till this day, even though I often forget it, because like looking at the way my career has moved, I wish that like I was bigger, and I'm trying so many different things to try to be bigger, and like it just seems like nothing is hitting. But one of the things that I always have to remind myself, something that I heard was, well, it's kind of like a two-part thing. One of the ones is God wouldn't bring me this far to leave me halfway. That's actually also a Mary Mary track. I just can't give up now. Yeah, that's
huge tune.
I just can't give up. Yeah, that song's fire. But like basically that, just he wouldn't bring me this far to leave me halfway. And then also with that, it's something that kind of relates to it. It's like it's just not time. It's just not time for me to have all these different things. Like I can't remember exactly the quote itself, but it's more so like God wouldn't give me anything I'm not ready for, or he can't give me more than I can handle, or I can't handle.
Yeah, I think it's more than I can handle.
Yeah, he wouldn't give me more than I can handle. So those are one, like, so the fact that I've not blown up yet is probably for my own good, or whatever blow up means, but like gotten bigger or at a level that I saw myself at that I'm not at right now. I just knew it's probably just not time, and I battle with it all the time, because I'm like, yo, is anybody even hearing these albums that I'm making? Because if somebody else's name was on this, somebody famous, this would be getting like 10 Grammy noms.
For sure.
I don't play around when it comes to, like, this is something I take serious. And I think a lot of artists lately, it's not really, they don't do music because they have to, because it's like in them. They do music because it's kind of like easy. It's almost like easy now. Like people have seen it happen. So like now everybody's making tracks.
That's what they think. Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, it's different. Like I've dedicated my life to this. Like I grew up in music. This is what I have to do. It's like to operate. Video games is something I have to play because it's a part of me. Like growing, like it all plays a part into who I am. And these are things that I have. Like I have to watch films. I have to watch cartoons. I have to watch like these things. Like it makes me who I am. It's not something I pick up because it's a job. You know what I mean? Like when I had to work when I worked a summer job when I was in high school at a camp, it's not because I had to do that. I wanted money. You know what I mean? It's not because like this is something that I have to do to survive, like, or I can't operate the same, or I can't move the same, or I can't feel alive. Music is something I have to do. So I take it so seriously. And I just want to be able to eat off of it. You know, I want to be able to purchase a home.
Facts.
I want to be able to buy nice things. And then like, definitely when I have the funds, there's things that I'm going to start that are bigger plans in the world. That I like don't want to, I don't want to say jinx. I don't really believe in jinxing my plans, but you know what I mean? I just would love to talk about them when I'm ready. But I can't do them now because financially we're just not there. We're talking like crazy $1 million ideas, but I got like so many ideas that I want to do that, I can't forget when I get to that point.
You brought up one thing that I wanted to ask you about before we finish. You talked about like if your album was someone's big name, like on it would be huge. And I felt that with your album too. I was like, if Childish Gambino put this out, y'all would have said, give him album of the year, you know?
Yeah, I love Childish Gambino, by the way.
Yeah, no. Rock them heavy too, but that could, and especially because a lot of artists, like I saw this with J. Cole coming up, like so many of the songs that were on his debut album had been leaked for 3, 4, 5 years, and he kind of saved them for a debut project. Yeah, you know, kind of to give to the people. It doesn't seem like you're doing that because you know you're putting out the fire. You're not waiting until you get big.
Yeah, I can't. I don't have a choice. You know what I mean? Like I don't have the luck because my plan is not to like bring my album to a label and then talk about making it big. My plan is to get big off of my music, so I have leverage when I go into a label talk. You know what I mean? Like if you bring a project to a label, they have that leverage, especially if they don't know who the hell you are.
Exactly.
So yeah, you're saying though.
No, that's basically what I was saying is that like I appreciate the fact that you are kind of putting your good music out, not feeling like you have to hold back or wait for the label, because to me, and I'm not a huge Russ fan of his music, but I like his interviews, and he says like, you know, my thing was I had my catalog of 300 songs when I went to the label. So these 300 songs, they couldn't eat off any of those, but whatever I make after that, we could work together. And I feel like your music is a level of quality that whenever you do blow up to that level that you're looking for, the fans will go back and be like, okay, perfect. I heard these 10 songs I like, but now I got 30 more that I can enjoy that will be new to me.
Yeah, and and I think one thing, like I would say, people don't gotta like. I think people should go back and listen to my first project in 2013 just for kicks. You know what I mean? Like, man, this is what this guy used to sound like, and like this is his voice, and like, but I think from like maybe Quest for Milk and Honey album that I dropped in 2016, I believe. I think 16 or 15, but not 16. I think from there on, the music quality at that point on is good enough where they're just good songs, period. So now you never have to feel like you're deprived of any music from me. My catalog is hella deep. It's been deep, and I've like worked super hard every year. And one thing that's really sick too is you could hear the progression on every single project. Every project that comes after whatever project, you could hear the skill level like rise all the time. It's just always topping, and try to. And I practice a lot, so practicing is definitely something that is important. People don't practice anymore. As I was saying earlier, gospel artists, man's rehearsal.
Rehearsal, man. It's a different game now. Game now. I want to thank you so much for joining us on our first home episode of In the Cut.
Yo, thanks for having me on. For real. This
has been amazing. If it's your first time listening to In the Cut, please subscribe to us, share our Instagram, Twitter, whatever internet service you're using. Please stream the album. If you guys have not heard the album, let me get the name of it right, because it is.
It's not how it sounds.
It's not how it sounds. I always want to say it's not how it seems. That's especially because the folder I got with the cleans is the acronym, not the actual.
Okay.
In my head, I'm like, it's not how it seems.
Yeah, it's not how it sounds.
It's not how it sounds.
Yeah.
Please go stream that. But until next time, know yourself, know your worth.